How do, folks? How are you all? Hope you're okay. I'm in my pyjamas at the moment. Wanted to see if anyone was live. I'm sure people are probably doing lives. Probably won't get that many of you in, to be fair. But I thought I'd have a beer, have a chat, have a natter, see who was about. Just try and pull up my laptop. So what do we all know? Three of you in already. How you doing, folks? Yeah, it's a completely random one. I wasn't going to do a live. I was meant to do another one down the plot from this morning, but the streamer and there was other people down there. How do, folks? How you doing? Yeah, and in the end, I just thought, well, I'm not going to go live because I ended up chatting to all the plot holders and I ended up doing a few more jobs and things like that, and that was about it, really. Let me just sort my cushion out. Right. Have I got the chat off? Lockdown California. Yeah, we're almost locked down here in the UK now, which is absolutely mental. Who'd have thought it, eh? Who'd have thought that we'd be in this situation? It's absolutely crazy. I mean, I've got Sky News on in the background, and they're showing you pictures of supermarkets with nothing in, and it's just absolutely madness. Anyway, I'm going to turn that off for a second. No distractions at all. Right, I got my chat on my laptop, so if I look away, it's because I'm looking at the chat. From Bournemouth, hi Ashley, how you doing? Yeah, it is the right time of year for it. I wish we had food on the old allotment. To be fair, typically had to come during the hunger gap, didn't it? Just bear with me, because can't do beer in a chat without beer, can I? So how's everyone been anyway? How's things where you are? Just drop me a comment in the chat, and I'll read them in a second. But yeah, everywhere's shut now in the UK. They've shut bars and restaurants and stuff like that, and basically the only places that I think are allowed to be open now are like food stalls, and that's it. And it's just absolute madness. I've heard reports on Facebook already that people are panic buying beer now the pubs are shut. To be fair, we're British, we're a nation of drinkers, and that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. You tell a British person that the pub is shut, then they're going to panic. I've ordered myself a homebrew kit, so that'll be 40 pints ready in 3 weeks' time, just in case. Just in case, at least once or twice a week. I feel like Bender from Futurama. I'll go rusty if I don't have a beer. I haven't had this beer for a while, actually. There we go. Butty back. Proper beer. After today, down the allotment with the kids, trying to keep them occupied so they don't get too bored. I need this. I really, really need this. I am shattered. That's good. Yeah, panic buying beer has begun. So we've moved on from toilet rolls to beer, which is it's crazy. I messaged my friends as a group of us that we went to school together and everything. We've known each other for years, and we always try and meet up every few couple of months at least to have a beer and stuff. And we all joked that I messaged them today to say people are panic buying beer, and they just were like, yeah, you have to go buy some beer now. Right, let's see what you all said. I hear they're going to make all older people stay in their home in the UK. Yeah, that's already begun. That's already started. They basically said that if you're on the vulnerable list or if you're 70 plus, I think they've said, you need to what they call socially distance yourself. So, excuse me, my grandparents have done it now. We've started a WhatsApp group. My nan uses a phone. My granddad has no idea because they're obviously 70 plus. And we've started a WhatsApp group so we can talk to them and send pictures of the kids and stuff. So we can't visit my grandparents, and obviously because I'm in the vulnerable group, no one should really visit me. My mom's in the vulnerable group, so no one should really visit her. So there's literally, we're all cut off at the moment. So we just talking to each other on the, even though we don't live too far away, we live literally 5 minute drive in either direction. We're not supposed to go and see each other. I don't think it's not. Do not go and see people, which is just crazy, absolute madness. Hi Sam, how you doing? Panic buying beer too, as the shelves were getting worse. Not one spud on the shelf and very little for a Sunday joint. And no, mate, I went to Farm Foods. I think I mentioned it in another one the other day. Because I thought to myself, like, I knew Asda, I knew Tesco's were nothing in there. I knew Aldi was pretty bad, and so I went to Farm Foods thinking not many people go to Farm Foods, so at least I can get some frozen meat and stuff. But no, it was the freezers were empty. It was like it had been looted. Just all the freezers were lids up, and they were completely empty. I managed to get a roll of like chicken joint thing, like a whatever you like a chicken breast joint. It looked shit basically, but I thought at least it's food. I managed to get a bag of lamb chops. Oddly, there was lamb left, I think, because it was expensive. And then I got some burgers, and by the way, again, I apologise for the buffering. I still haven't got to the bottom of this yet. I don't know why it does it, considering I have super fast internet. But I don't know. But I know YouTube is cutting its bandwidth. I saw that this week. YouTube, because of the demand of people socially isolation, because of people socially isolating in Europe, YouTube and Netflix are cutting their bandwidth to help basically stay online. It's crazy because people are not doing anything because we can't go anywhere, so we're watching Netflix and YouTube. Anyway, back to Farm Foods. So I got some crap meat. I got some basically some chump chops, and I got some cheap burgers, and that's all I could get from Farm Foods. And then I drove around to the local greengrocers and other places, and they were all right actually. Managed to get quite a bit of fresh veg and fruit and stuff, which was good. So that with my crap meat, I'd be fine. I'll be fine. Oh, thank you, Ashley. That'd be great. Do you know what? I have now made you a moderator, so thank you very much. You can police the chat for me. Just catching up with the chat. I understand there are. I understand why they're locking old people down, but I'm just so frustrated by it as the time's precious. I can't see my grand granddad. Oh, that's sad. That is. It's just. So what do you do? There's no. There's nothing anyone can say about that, is there really? Sorry to hear that, but you're in a catch-22, aren't you? I mean, you could see them, and you could pass them on the bug, and then it could end their life sooner, or you could not see them. It's just, yeah, I feel for you. I'm sorry about that. That's can't offer anything because it's just a catch-22 situation, and it's horrible. You're a policeman. Yes. Troll, which I did the other day actually. Yeah, if you're in proper full on isolation, it must be absolutely dreadful. I mean, I'm still going to the allotment obviously because I've got chickens to feed. If it gets to the point where we get like Italy and you can't go anywhere, then I will have to bring my chickens home, and I'm not allowed to do that because I rent and it's in my like contract. Um, and I know there's a saying, and it's better to ask forgiveness than ask permission because I know that if I ask permission, I'll probably be told no. So part of me thinks just bring the chickens here, get through it, and if no one knows, no one knows. if 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 someone complains, then I'll say I'm sorry, I didn't know what to do. That won't happen again. Slap my wrist, kind of thing. But yeah, I figure something out, I suppose. Oh, what beer are we on tonight? We're on Butty Back. It's brewed by Valley. There we go. It's quite nice actually. It is 4.5%. It says Butty Back is a Welsh term for little friend. I'm a Shropshire lad and I didn't know that. And obviously we're right next to Wales. But we tend to just ignore the Welsh. I'm joking. But no. I said I knew what butty is, but that's also a sandwich over here. I don't know if anyone from across the pond might not get that, but yeah, if you talk about a bacon butty or a ham butty or a cheese butty, then from where I come from, a butty is a sandwich. But yeah, it's quite a golden colour. It's a bit like an IPA, really. It's really nice. It's very good. It's just a bog standard beer, really. There's nothing too fancy about it, but it's very nice. Ah, tis a nice quaffing beer. Oh, I remember you saying you're not allowed to drink. Oh, don't know how you cope. Don't know how you cope. If I had whiskey in the house, I would drink it every night, and so I tend only to buy a few bottles a year, because otherwise I'd be, you know, constantly sipping whiskey in the evening. So obviously, probably not good for your health to be drinking that much whiskey. But obviously, I do like a beer, but I don't drink a beer every night. I used to drink a lot years ago when I was younger, but I don't drink that much anymore. I probably drink, if I'm lucky, 3 pints a week. I mean, back in the day, I'd drink 10 pints a night, 3 nights a week, which is, I'd say, probably about normal for a lad of my age who kind of like the last of the pub culture. I mean, it's not pub culture, is not what it was it, or is it really? But yeah, God, when I was like a teenager, we used to live in the pub. We'd be, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday daytime in the pub, kind of thing. So, but yeah, I do enjoy a good pint. Conversation shed is on Twitter, so I can share it places. Oh, cool. That's really good. Thank. Ah, it's still buffering. Is it still buffering there? Oh, I don't know. Oh, is it going to be a pain? No, I don't think it's just you. I think it's buffering all over. Desperately trying. Is it working? Is it working? Start again. I apologise for this buffering issue. Yeah. Hopefully it's not going to be a nightmare, an absolute nightmare, because it was working to start with. I know it buffers a little bit, and it's doing my Sweden at the moment. Fine with the occasional buffer. Yes, currently. Yeah, I know we had a long buffer a second ago because I got my laptop and I reset it. But it's a strange one. Oh, I think you're all in a chat amongst yourself, which is cool. Which is cool. Uh, yeah, I mean, feel free to stick around. It does seem to come back every now and again, but I don't know why it takes so long. So what's everyone been up to? What's everyone got in the ground? I think you're all allotment folk here. Is that right? Um, I mean, what have I been sowing today? More spring onions today. I sowed loads of spring onions because we get through quite a few of them. Carrots are in now. Started my first lot of lettuce. My cabbages that have overwintered, they've gone out today. Put potatoes in tomorrow. Yes, I need to get my compost for my potatoes, but being kind of semi-isolated, I haven't got it yet, so it's a bit of a pain. What else? What else have I need to do, or have I done? Cabbages, kale's in. I've got tomatoes, chilies, cucumber, pumpkins. Pumpkins, Ross. I put pumpkins outside to harden off. I need to bring them in tonight. I'm glad I remembered that. Yeah, everything's going with gusto now. I think I've said that I've not done too many flowers this year, simply because I want to do more veg. Just with the current situation, the space that I've got, if I can grow veg in it, I'm going to grow veg in it. Big patch of poppies, let's say. I might this year grow a courgette plant because it will be food, and things like that. I will be still growing flowers, but I think I might leave flowers to pots and my front garden. And as for the flower beds, if I can put a tomato plant in there, I'm going to put a tomato plant in there, and just try and get as much food in my back garden. Might be something that we all need to do, maybe. I don't know. How's this whole thing going to play out? It's just you can't fathom it, really, can you? Well, I can't fathom it anyway. Yeah, my lettuce, I've started that outside. Uh, One beer will feel like 10. Is that to do with morphine patches, is it, by any chance? Because I take painkilling medication, and I noticed ever since I started taking that I can just get drunk so quick. It's untrue. Don't know why I do that, because I can't click my fingers. But there we go. Picked up a boot full of dumped compost this afternoon. That's going in potato buckets. Yes, love that. I love that. It's really good. I grow my potatoes in like absolutely anything I can get my hands on. Really, I just put a bit of fertilizer in there, and they seem to do all right. And then the compost the following year, I use it for other things. So, for instance, the compost that my potatoes were in last year is now got my like carrots and onions in this year, and I just move it from pot to pot and kind of stuff like that. Ah, ADHD medication. Ah, fair enough. I imagine like the way it reacts, isn't it, to the alcohol? But yeah, my pain medication does it, and I just can, if yeah, you can just find 4 pints could just absolutely knock me over. I mean, some people that have probably watched my lives before now have probably seen me. If I have my second beer, I can feel tipsy straight away after 2 beers. Mental. Yeah, yeah, chicken poo pellets and bloodfish and bone. It's exactly what I do. That is, yeah, it's amazing how you can rejuvenate old compost by doing stuff like that. And the amount of people I've seen over the years that throw, even if you've grown potatoes and you've got blight or whatever, even then I wouldn't say throw your compost away. because what you can do is like you can spread it out over the ground, and you can have a fire on it, and obviously the heat will kill the blight spores, and then the potash mixed in with it, and this, that, and the other, and then rake all that hot coals and compost together and get it cooking and baking and this, that, and the other, and then let it cool down naturally, and then reuse that compost for carrots or onions or whatever else. I've seen so many people, they put compost into a pot and they put some nice pansies or whatever around it, and then they grow that for the year, and then they clean their pots out in the winter, and they just get that compost and they throw it in the green bin. And it's like, what are you doing? It's such a waste. Don't do it. It costs you a fortune, compost. So don't just be throwing it away after one season. Don't drink after having a stroke. Oh, sorry to hear that. Do you know what? I think genuinely not many people are drinking as much as they or we or society used to. And I don't think it's just to do with health, as in conditions and this, that, and the other. I just think we're naturally realising that probably wasn't the best thing to be doing was drinking 3 or 4 bottles of wine, a night, 3 or 4 times a week. I think the whole drink less, drink in moderation is finally sinking in. So that's it. Reuse compost for 3 years, and then it goes as mulch. That is exactly how it should be. Like I said, I'd never throw compost away. Never, ever throw it away. Yeah, all those people are doing is giving Wilco's next year's compost. Yeah, because everything that goes in your green bin just gets repurposed as compost the following year. So you buy compost, and then you give it away, and then you buy it back the following year. It's pretty much what you do. That's so true. So true indeed. Ooh, almost spilled my beer. That's just it. If you refill your compost every year, it costs an absolute fortune. So it's always best to repurpose it. I tell you what, one thing we can take from the last few weeks anyway, that the weather's improved, hasn't it? It's funny, isn't it? We've all been locked down all winter with this really crap British weather. It's been rainy and it's been rubbish and it's been waterlogged and floods. And we just start to get decent weather that we can go out and do some sowing in. And then we all get almost locked down due to a pandemic virus that's not been seen on this planet in most of our, lifetimes. I mean, really and truthfully, the last one was Spanish flu, which was 1920, and so there's probably not many people alive that saw the last pandemic. It's been one heck of a last 4 or 5 months, really, or longer than that, 6 months, really, hasn't it? With the rain we've had, and then this, and there's me all geared up for another year on the allotment, another year of getting stuck into things. It's just been crazy, absolutely crazy. I still don't think it's sunk in. I still think it's a dream, and I wake up every morning, and I lie there in bed and go, "Oh, great morning," and I pick up my phone and go, "Is it a dream? Is it a dream? Is it a dream?" I look at my phone and I'll go, "No, it wasn't a dream." You've got your broad beans in. That's good. Yeah, that's good. I don't tend to grow broad beans simply because I'm the only one who likes them, and no one else in my family eats them. So it's just like, no, I'll just buy a tin for me. But they're a great crop, aren't they? Broad beans, because they get into that hunger gap. They're like the first thing after the winter that seems to be ready, and then it's just a thing They're the first thing that pokes up through the frost and the snow, and then before you know it, you've got big fat pods, and it's just nice to see. And the bees, always obviously the bees home in on the flowers because obviously they're the first ones to like really appear after the dandelions. So I do like broad beans. I've got to harvest stuff tomorrow, so you're happy. What have you got to harvest tomorrow? Dahlia seeds in. Oh yeah, I needed to plant some dahlia seeds. I thought I'd overwintered some dahlia bulbs that I grew from seed last year, but I put them in the corner of the greenhouse, and I think the frost has got them. Spinach, chard, broccoli, and some beets. Yeah, I got chard down there. I tend to give it to the chickens though. I mean, again, we eat it, I eat it, but we don't eat that much of it. So, but it's really handy for the chickens because, especially in the winter when there's not much grass for them to peck at, I can pull out some chard and give them some of that, and it's packed full of iron, so they love it. So I tend really to grow kale, although we do eat kale. I tend to grow the kale and chard for the chickens because it just keeps them in greens. Jim, new live multi-channel. Yes, your messages are popping up. If I've missed them, I am terribly sorry, but I definitely saw that one. Yes, I did my carrots, mate. I've got to do my parsnips, but I will be leaving my parsnips till probably April, end of April, because I need to make a better bed for them. Because where the parsnips were this year is now got spring onions in. Because I intend on sowing the spring onions, taking out a couple of really quick crops of those when they're on the way, and then I'm going to repurpose that bed. And I'm going to put some carrots in for later in the year because it's a nice deep bed. That particular bed, I didn't want it to be used up all year because it was last year. All year it had parsnips in, and it just felt like a bit of a waste. So I want them to go somewhere else this year and then reuse this bed for other things. So hopefully I can get 4 or 5 harvests of spring onions and a couple of harvests of carrots out of this one bed, rather than just having one harvest of parsnips. And the parsnips, I'm just going to build a small container, wooden box, or even a plastic barrel, put the chicken manure and stuff and things like that in there, and then put the parsnips in, and I can leave that in the corner of the allotment somewhere. And I'm the only one who really eats parsnips in our house, unless we have a stew, and I chop them really small, so I don't need many. If I grow like 40 parsnips, that's more than enough. It's more than enough for me, so I don't need to go nuts. No, that's right, mate. Yeah, if you've got livestock on your plot, I can't see how they could stop you going down there to do it. I know in Italy they've had a like a token pass system, haven't they, where you get it signed and or you apply for it online or something, and you have to show it at like checkpoints. It just saying that just doesn't, madness, isn't it? Crazy. That's a good point, actually. You can go to your allotment because you're going to get food. Never thought of it like that. Yeah, that's the argument I'll be using. I am actually worried though that if this carries on for months and months and months, there's going to come a point in the summer where people realise that our allotments have got food on them, and we're going to end up getting robbed. Oh, my son's coming downstairs. Bear with me. You alright, Seth?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm just on YouTube.
Yeah, okay.
Alright. it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. If there is a food shortage, people will just start robbing allotments. You can. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I like that sound. I like that. Devious, but clever. Do you know what, Jim? I think you're probably right. I think there probably is a lot more to it than they're saying, because through the sheer amount of money that they want to spend on the economy to shore everything up, what are they expecting to happen next is the question. It's worrying, isn't it? Zombies. Oh, it's quite funny. You never know. You never know. By all accounts, in China, they stopped burials and were going for instant cremation. So if their people died in hospital, they were just being whisked away to the crematorium. So you never know. Maybe there is a zombie element to it. I have to be honest. If it's going on for a few more months and I've got food down the allotment, I would consider actually camping down my allotment. I would set myself up a bed in the shed, and I could come home in the daytime, disappear down the allotment 10 o'clock at night, have a couple hours kip in the shed, 2 or 3 nights a week, and just keep an eye out, light a fire, make some noise, make sure people were aware that I was doing it, kind of thing, and then hopefully deter people from doing it. But we'll cross that bridge if we get to it. But I am gearing myself up, and this is the God's honest truth, and I'm going to be making a video about it soon. I'm gearing myself up for growing more food in my back garden, but at the same time, my backup plan is going to be my garden, where I can have quite a bit of food, literally within 10 yards of the back door. Potatoes, tomatoes, cucumbers, all that kind of thing. Loads of salad stuff, loads of greens, and as I've said, I'm gonna not put in as many flowers this year, and in their places I'm gonna put veggies, just in case, just planning ahead, because even if I can just provide one meal a day out of my back garden, that could be an absolute game changer if there's still panic buying, and the situation gets worse in a few months' time. A shed, a dog, and a baseball bat. I have a shed, a dog, and a cricket bat. So yeah. Also have an air rifle, and a very large Victorian felling axe. So I'll go full on Hunger Games with whoever wants to steal my parsnips. A pyrotechnician. Well, I've actually bought myself some shotgun mines. You put a little blank shotgun cartridge in it, and you bury it in the ground, or you put it somewhere, and you have a tripwire, so when they go through it goes bang, and it's the same noise of a shotgun going off. I've just got to buy the blanks for it now from the gun shop, and I've got to gear my allotment up with those, because I want it so basically if someone goes down there, they're going to cause a hell of a lot of noise, and because there is a few houses nearby, hopefully it will spook them enough to bugger off. Jim, you'll have to send me a message on how to make them. They sound really cool. I would quite happily gear my allotment up and put a few of those around the place. Probably put them at head height, so if anyone did actually come around and steal my vegetables, it would blow their face off. Probably not advisable, but if you're a tea leaf, then you probably what you deserve. cool. I think I've caught up with the chat. I like standing next to a tank. Love it. Love it. Right, folks. I'm trying to work out how long I've been chatting crap to you guys for 37 minutes. It's absolutely mental. 37 minutes. But I suppose with the whole social distancing thing, this is going to become a regular occurrence now. Because at the end of the day, we've got nothing else to do other than sit in our houses. No. Drink beer, watch TV, and go on YouTube. So, yeah. Madness. Just like I said, it still hasn't sunk in. It still hasn't sunk in at all. Part of me just, I haven't even got a clue where it's going. Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? It's about getting together. I think if we can just chat to each other online, WhatsApp groups, Facebook, Twitter, whatever else, it's gonna help with the whole mental side of being locked in the house for what could be months. And it does make you wonder though, doesn't it, about what is really going on. If you take your rational head off, put your conspiracy theory head on, wrap yourself in tinfoil, and think about all the crazy things that go on in the world, it just makes you wonder about certain things. Like, our government is changing different laws to do with civil liberties, so they can actually arrest people for health reasons, and they can detain them for longer in mental health wards and stuff. And apparently they want to do that for 2 years. But if this virus could all be over with in 12 weeks, as was said yesterday by the Prime Minister, then why do they need to change civil liberties laws for 2 years? Surely you change the civil liberties laws, the virus is done. But to just say, right, we're going to change civil liberties for 2 years, but the virus might be done in 12 weeks, what's going to happen with the end of it? I don't know. A few little bits and pieces just don't sit well with me. I always makes me wonder what isn't being said. And for instance, like the only actual reputable source of information we've had about the virus has been from the European countries, like Italy. And obviously Italy is absolutely getting smashed now. I mean, they had 600 deaths today in Italy. And by all accounts, they've now overtaken China. But we all know that the Chinese don't exactly tell the truth on a lot of things. They, a bit like Russia and North Korea and Iran and everywhere else, they like to hush it up a bit. And it just makes you wonder how many deaths there were in China. Was it only the 4,000 that they said? Or was it more like 40,000 or 400,000? And the thing is with China, you'll never ever truly know. You'll never really know about it. And if you're a conspiracy theorist, you can understand where these conspiracies start from, because some things just aren't sitting right, if that makes sense. I mean, when was the last time you knew that countries were like shutting down and stuff like that? It's just absolute madness. And the governments have been quite quick. Like the UK government is just throwing money at things. I mean, we've got a Conservative government who don't like to spend any money on the people ever. They like to give it to their mates who are multimillionaires and billionaires and companies, but they don't like to spend money on people. But they're throwing money at different situations, and you just think it must be bad for the Conservatives to want to spend money. That's the biggest shocker for me, is the Conservatives actually want to spend trillions of pounds sorting this mess out. And you just think, that's mental. If it was Labour in power, you'd be like, yeah, well, I understand that. But the Conservatives want to spend that money, and they're quite happy to do it. And then, when's it going to end? Is that just me being mental? Please, just in the comments, just say, Ross, you're mental, or say, Ross, we completely agree with you, or don't say anything at all, because I don't know, I just can't get my head around it. I really can't. GMO mozzies? I have no idea what that is. Uh, we're at 167. It's madness. Excuse me. Yeah, if you're uploading videos and it's taken a while, I did say that you might have missed it. YouTube as well as Netflix are slowing their bandwidth down to try and accommodate demand at the moment, because there's so many, especially in Europe, so many people in like Italy, Spain, and France because of lockdown that are just on YouTube and on Netflix, that they're literally trying to like spread the internet out because the bandwidth is just crashing. So they've brought everything down a little bit to try and spread it out over a bigger area. It's very true, Jim. It's about control, isn't it? The easiest way to control someone is to make them fear something, um, and that's kind of what doesn't sit well in my head, because it's like that's how fascism starts and communism starts, and yeah. And also, if you look at human history, going back for as far as you can remember, there's a pattern to everything, and the pattern is normally civil unrest, pandemic, financial collapse, war, and it's those four things that kind of always repeats itself over and over again. And you can go and have a look at World War Two, World War One, the Napoleonic Wars. You can the 100 Years' War. Uh, you know, War of Independence in America. Have a look at what happened in the years previous to those things, and they can all be linked to things from like the plagues to famines and this, that, and the other, and it happens, and it's just a thing that we humans stupidly do and have never learned from. See, I first thought that. Um, is it like population control? But this is going to sound awful now. It's not killing enough people to be population control. That's the blunt way of putting it. Because to actually control the population, we would need to wipe out about 1 billion people, and that wouldn't even, we'd be back up to 7 billion in about 10 years. So really and truthfully, you'd need to wipe out about 2.5 billion people to actually have any impact on population control, because we're so good at basically breeding now. I mean, I'm sure that the population, I can't remember the exact stats now, but something like since the 1940s, the population's like doubled or something ridiculous like that, and so now it just gets a bit. We've got to the point now where you'd literally need a mass extinction to control population. I'm a bit of a geek because I kind of like watching documentaries and stuff like that. One thing is though, and I know obviously people outside the UK won't understand the one reference, but the other one you will. But have you noticed that no one's talking about climate change or Brexit anymore? The biggest thing for the last like 4 years has been climate change and Brexit, and all of a sudden nobody cares about it, which is quite funny really, because there's a lot of people around the world, Trump, Johnson, China talking about climate change. Yeah, there will be a baby boom, won't there? Of course there will. Yeah, I saw that. The second person ever to be cured of HIV, because wasn't the first guy cured completely by accident? He apparently he had HIV. He was having tests like every 3 months to check, and then one day he went for a test, and they were like, "You haven't got HIV," and he was like, "Yeah, I have. I've had it for like 5 years," and they were like, "No, you haven't," and he was like, "I have." And apparently, I don't know whether this is true or not, but there might be some kind of like what random rumor that I picked up. And apparently, they now use his blood in like anti HIV medication or something because obviously he had some weird genetic antibody that basically killed the virus. So I don't know. Yeah. So maybe the second person has something to do with that. I don't know. Jim, multi-channel. Go to your channel then, Jim. I have just subscribed, Jimmy boy. I will have a look, mate, later, matey. That's very true, Wobbly Bob. That is very true. There was an article in one of the newspapers that said that if 4% of the over 70s were to be killed off by this virus, it would actually be a boost to the economy. Now, that's not me saying that, you know, but basically, because of the impact on national health, on pensions, on everything else, on care and social care, and this boost the economy. So, from that point of view, again, makes you put your tinfoil hat on, think the earth is flat, get your conspiracy theory books out, and think, hmm. Oh yeah, don't say subscribe or sub because your comments get blocked off or whatever. Um, yeah, it's just a random YouTube thing. I agree with that, Sam. Yeah, Boris's body language just reeks of I know something you don't know, and it's absolutely shit scaring me. So, I'm sure it'll all come out in the wash, but you know, it's like people going on about panic buying. I can understand why people are doing it because I don't think they have confidence in the government to sort everything out. First thing the government should have done as soon as the panic buying started, where they should have limited it. Every item in a supermarket should have been limited to one item per person per day, and they could have quite easily sent ration books out with people's names, addresses on, this, that, and the other, anything like that. You print off yourself, put on your smartphone, an app, anything could have been done just to help relieve the stress of the panic buying. But the fact that they didn't do it is made the panic buying worse because people just don't know they don't know what's going on and then they're unsure because 24-hour news isn't helping. When people see images of empty supermarkets, it makes you want to go out and get as much food as you can. Every time I see an empty shelf on a TV, I'm thinking, my God, have I got enough food in the house? But I think it's no confidence in the government, and it's just not. I think there's an element of you think to yourself, are they really telling the truth? Are they not? Is it more serious than they're making out? And then obviously conspiracy theories, and you dwell on it, and then you panic, and you think, what do I need? I need food, I need this, that, and the other. And before you know it, supermarkets are empty, and it just breeds more panic and more conspiracies and more unease and uncertainty. Hopefully, now they're shutting things down, people will start to realise that it's actually serious, and there might be a little bit more community spirit. But we're humans. I wouldn't put it past. I wouldn't think that's gonna. I'd like that to happen, but I can't see it happening because people will always want to look after their own interests, and and that's the way it's always been, forever and a day. They go on about the Blitz spirit, and they go on about dig for victory and all the great things we did during World War Two that made this country proud. At the end of the day, yeah, we did a lot of amazing stuff. We also did a lot of shitty stuff as well. There was black market food. There was people forging fuel vouchers. There was all that kind of crap that happened at the same time, because that's what humans do, because we're selfish prats. I had to stop myself from saying something else there. Did anyone see the news about the nurse and the carer crying because she had no food? I did, and this is going to be massively controversial. I can't even get my words out. It's going to be massively controversial. This is, and I apologise in advance if it offends you. I don't mean to offend you because you're all my subscribers and I think you're ace. But I think she just embarrassed herself, really. And my other half said the same thing, because there's a lot of this thing, people going on, and it's when she started to talk about, like, I'm going to be caring for you and I need to be healthy and this and the other. Yes, you are going to be caring for us, and I appreciate your sacrifice in caring for us, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that you should have first picks on all the food. I get it, people are panic buying, and I get it, people are taking it too far, and it is absolutely obscene and it's ridiculous, but at the same time, sticking a video of yourself crying in a car and moaning about the situation, what do you hope to achieve from that? Because the people that feel bad for you are going to feel bad for you, and the people that are panic buying are just going to look at it and go, meh. So it does nothing. As I've said, just because she's a nurse, it doesn't give her any more of a right to have more than the rest of us. It's that's down to government. That's not down to the people. The government need to make sure people are getting enough food. The government need to make sure there's not panic buying. The government need to implement laws, whatever. Stick 2 or 3. I almost said squaddies. Then some of you might not know what a squaddie is. Stick 2 or 3 army guys on the doors of Asda and Tesco's and Sainsbury's, and make sure there's control if you have to. Stick armed army in the supermarkets if you have to. Do whatever you can so everyone can get some food. But we shouldn't have a situation where NHS is fantastic and I will defend it to the death, but we shouldn't have a situation where it's a case of you work for the NHS, you're going to get more than everyone else. That's not how it should work. Panic shop today. 40 tins of cat food, you don't even have a cat. Meat pies. Meat pies are on you. You spent 6 months trying to build a community of YouTubers and no one is interested. I didn't know. I don't think I knew about it. I'm all for YouTube community. I think people. I think there's a lot of romancing about, like, oh, we used to be community spirit, the Blitz spirit, and all the rest of it. As I've said, I don't think that was ever the case. It's not in human. Yes, we have. I think that. How can I explain this? I think that there are good humans and there are bad humans, And I think that the good humans will always try and help somebody out who's less fortunate than them, and the bad humans will just generally not give a shit. But I also think that even the best-hearted humans, I'm not saying I'm the best-hearted human, that's survival of the fittest. That's because the reason I'm here now is because I'm generation of someone that has survived long enough to have kids. And the reason they've survived long enough to have kids is because they've probably always done the majority of the things they do is to benefit them. Because if you always distribute your own wealth and you will always give out to other people all the time, then you end up taking from yourself and you make yourself weaker, and therefore you don't prosper. And the whole point of humans, the whole point of any species, is to live long enough to breed. That's it. Take it down to the lowest common denominator. That's what you have to do. And in order to do that, you have to survive. So our ancestors would have been the same. I imagine our ancestors would have stockpiled food for winter. And I imagine if someone knocked on the door and said, "I'm starving, hungry, can you spare me some bread?" they'd have given out a piece of bread. But they wouldn't have gone into their storeroom and gone, "I tell you what, mate, you can have half." Then they've gone, "Yeah, I'm having all this grain for me, but I'll give you the odd loaf of bread." And I just think that's what we do as humans. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's definitely not a good thing. But I just think it's in our nature to want to survive. And we do it however we do it. Again, people are going to think that's massively controversial. But to be honest, I just think that's the way things are. That's just the way we are. It's ingrained in us that we'll share a little bit, but we won't share everything. So I'm just catching up with the chat. Just bear with me a sec. There we go, conversation shed. I've made you an admin, so you can post what you want, mate. I trust you. That's crack on. But people selling baby formula for like 3-4 times the value. Now they're arseholes. They deserve to be slapped. Anyone who's right. Here we go. If you go to the shops and you buy a load of food and you put it under your stairs and it's for you and your family and your grandparents and your aunties and uncles and all that kind of stuff, personally, me, not got a problem with it. Not got a problem with it. Kudos to you. You're looking after yourself. Okay? If you go to the shops, you buy a shitload of stuff, you stash it under your stairs, and then you put it on eBay for 3 times, 4 times, 10 times the value, then you're a twat. And I hope you get botulism from the beans that are under your stairs, and you don't breed anymore, and you're taking out the gene pool. Because that's the one thing that I can't deal with. I can't deal with people profiteering from disaster. It makes me, I just hate it, absolutely hate it. And I don't, like I said, I don't mind the people stocking up to look after their family and their friends and this, that and the other. But people who are doing it to profiteer, then it's just round them up and slap them all silly, basically, or shoot them in the face. Either or, really. I'm quite happy with any outcome. There's a chemist by me, believe it or not, and a friend of mine was saying that this is a chemist. This is someone that is qualified to help people. I don't know if they take the Hippocratic, you know what I mean, the doctor's oath. Hippocratic. Someone write down what that is. I don't know if they take that oath, but it's a chemist nevertheless. And apparently, and I've not seen it myself, so it's like second-hand info, that they've like put their hand sanitizer and antibacterial wipes up by like 10 times what they are. That's a chemist. And you just think, why are you cashing in on people who need them because it's a disaster? Why are you doing it? I'm sorry, you can only buy one of them at a time. And make sure everyone gets a bottle of hand sanitizer. Because at the end of the day, if everyone had a bottle of hand sanitizer, the virus would have less chance of spreading. By knobheads going out and buying all the hand sanitizer and then sticking it on eBay for 10, 20, 30 quid a bottle is ridiculous. And eBay's full of it, and it makes me sick. And why eBay have not shut it down, I have no idea. It's made me so angry. If I worked for eBay and I had that access, I'd be going through eBay, and every bottle of hand sanitizer that was under 200ml, that was on there for more than 5 quid, I'd be going delete, 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 and I'd be blocking them, and I'd be freezing their PayPal accounts, and I'd be making sure they got none of that money. See you, Bri. Take care, mate. I think you're already gone, but all the best, pal. Hippocratic. Hippocratic. That's the one. I don't know if chemists take the Hippocratic oath, but any chemist that puts his hand sanitizer up by 10 times the amount is a twat, in my opinion. Excuse my French. Don't think twat's French, is it? Oh well. £20 a tin for baby formula. Absolutely madness. Just makes you that makes me sick. That's there's no need for that. There isn't any need for that. Like I said, don't mind people looking after themselves, but profiteering from it, just wrong. You can make your own hand sanitizer, but as me and my mum found out, you can't buy rubbing alcohol anymore because people are now bulk buying that to sell on eBay. So rubbing alcohol, which was like a fiver a litre before all of this, is now like 15 quid a litre. It's more expensive than like vodka. It's ridiculous. To be selling baby formula for 20 quid a tub and all the rest of it, I hope that when it gets really bad in this country and the looting starts, I hope everyone remembers where those shops are, and I hope they're the first shops or the only shops to get looted. And I hope they lose. I hope they make 200 quid on hand sanitizer, and then they lose £20,000 because they've had all their stock stolen out of the warehouse. It would serve them right. Dove soap. Tell you what, mate, if I saw a corner shop have toilet roll in for a tenner and it was price marked at £2.50, I first of all I would complain about it, and then I'd steal it, and I would go, right fella, I'm going to walk out with all your toilet roll, you can stop me, you can call the police, and then when the police get here, I'll tell them that you've broken the law because you can't sell stuff that's price marked for more than what it's price marked for. And I would make sure that I kicked up such a fuss and I got arrested and I was on front page of the local newspaper and everyone knew that corner shop owner was a twat. Yeah, bleach is good but bad for your hands. You can see, before now I have actually washed my hands with bleach when I've had like something that's been really smelly on it, like fish or something, but you need to check the back of the bottle and see what the dilution ratio is, because all bleaches are different concentrates, so you don't want to make it too strong because you'll literally burn your hands. But if you mix, I don't know what it is, but it's something like 1 part bleach, some bleach, like, I don't know, it could be like 1 part bleach, 10 parts water, and then it's fine for washing your hands. It's enough to kill germs but not enough to burn your hands off. But just don't take my word for that, read the back of the packet. Good for you, mate. Yeah, good for you. I'm glad you did that. Tell trading standards. I definitely would have nicked some. I'd have gone right. I'm having it. Wrap it round him. Sorry, folks, keeping up with the chat. Yeah, I don't know what I've missed about the bleach. Uh, I was on about washing your hands, um, but I do know it affects your breathing. I actually gassed myself with bleach when I worked at McDonald's, and it wasn't nice. It wasn't nice at all. I saw about that, Jim. Yeah, that made the news today. I saw that in the UK. That basically this senator wasn't. You would probably know more than me that American senator was like telling the people like you need to calm down, everything's going to be fine, and secretly he was selling all of his shares to get out quick and like cash in, and you just think to yourself, it's just typical politician, isn't it? They're all the same. They're all the same. Everything will be fine. Sell, sell, sell. It'll be fine. Sell, sell, sell. You just you couldn't. It could be a comedy sketch, couldn't it? By the way, I haven't got fleas. Those of you who missed my chat the other day, I had a nothing serious. I had a heart monitor put on, and they had to shave parts of me because I'm quite hairy to stick the tabs on, and the hairs are growing back. And at the moment, for the last like few days, I just find myself itching because it's like blinking hair. Ugh. Yeah, I've just brought some homebrew actually, and yeah, I use the I've used it to sterilise and stuff. I've seen the toilet pot paper being planted. That was genius. Really, really funny that was. You had a reaction to Ajax. I can beat that. I drank Ajax. Yeah. Well, turns out that you know the little cups you used to have that you'd fill in when you worked in the kitchen and have a drink. Well, it turns out that somebody had been Ajaxing, and rather than use a little Ajax shaker, they put some Ajax in a cup, about that much, and they'd Ajax, and they put the cup on the side next to the drinks machine, and then somebody had obviously gone along, seen a cup, picked it up, and put it back in the dispenser. So I was really hot, and it was like middle of the shift, and I was in a rush, so I went to the dispenser, got Sprite, put the cup under the Sprite dispenser, filled up, you know, a good sized glug of Sprite, necked it as I used to do when I was busy. As it went in my mouth and I'd swallowed it, I felt this horrible, like, it was like a dry burning sensation. It was awful. And I looked in the bottom of the cup and there was Ajax, the little bluey greeny flecks and stuff in there. So I called my boss over and I was like, yeah, I've just drunk Ajax. And he was like, oh shit. So basically read the back of the packet and everything and what you had to do. And they basically sat me down and pumped me full of water. I literally just drank and drank and drank and drank water. And I managed to bring it up. I went to the toilet and I managed to bring it up and everything. And I was fine, and there was no damage whatsoever, kind of thing. It was literally in there and out pretty instantaneously. Um, well, within a couple of minutes. But yeah, and needless to say, the person who'd been Ajaxing and put Ajax in a McDonald's cup had a serious dressing down. Never had to Ajax again. It was a pain. We used to cheat. We used to get Windoline, so we'd wipe the stainless steel down with warm soapy water to get the grease off. Then we just dry it with a cloth. Then we'd squirt it with Windoline, and we'd just buff it with napkins, and it would shine and sparkle, and it was fine, and you didn't have to Ajax. Smear free, yeah, it was indeed. It worked really well. Windoline worked really well. Crikey, folks, I've been on 74 minutes. 74 minutes. I'm out of beer. I'm officially out of beer. That's my last glug. Yes, conversation shed. I think I will be off soon too. I like it, Rach. Yeah. Has anyone seen the video of the American guy that's discovered a B-Day for the first time? Have a look. Do American guy B-Day. It's hilarious. I don't know where he's from, but going by his accent, I'd say he was like south of America. Tennessee area. That's, well, I don't mean like Argentina, South of America, but south of the United States. And he learns about a B-Day, and he uses a B-Day for the first time, and he uses it on camera. And obviously, you can't only see his face and his top half of his body. Absolutely hilarious. Seriously, the guy is so funny. Check it out. It's so true with McDonald's. You do get fed up of it. We used to create our own burgers in the end. I used to make salads sometimes just to, so you'd get chicken nuggets and chop them up, and then put tomatoes and cucumbers and lettuce and onions and stuff, and then put some mayonnaise on top and just make yourself a big bowl up with it. It's untrue. And you used to get a little card as well, and the little card, the little card entitled you to a meal in any McDonald's for £2. So you'd be out with your friends and they'd be like, "Do you want a McDonald's? Do you want a McDonald's?" And you'd be like, "Yeah." "Oh, get your card out, get your card out." And he's like, "Oh, all right then. I'll buy you a McDonald's for £2." You did it as well. I know. Used to make some crazy ones. They used to make like fish Big Macs as well. So you get a Big Mac and you put 2 fillet of fishes in it, and then you do like a chicken Big Mac, which would be like meat. Hello from Louisiana. I can't pronounce that. Broussard. Is that right? Broussard Homestead. I'm dreadful with names. Sorry. Apologies. You might have seen it then if you're from Louisiana. There's a guy on the internet. We're just talking about it, and he's from the southern states of America. I go by his accent, and he's discovered a B-Day for the first time, and it's. I said it right, did I? Hey. And this guy discovered a B-Day for the first time, and it's absolutely hilarious. It's absolutely genius. This video, you don't get to see anything, you see it from the top up, but basically this guy uses a B-Day to wash his arse for the first time, and it's hysterical. Oh guys, that works on Mackie D's. Is the mayo on the chicken sandwiches different to the standard mayo? They don't. The only mayonnaise they do in McDonald's is in the kitchen. You can't get pots of mayonnaise in McDonald's, or you never used to be able to. I don't think you can get it now. And all the mayonnaise is exactly the same, and it comes out of a big tube that goes into a big. What used to. This I haven't been. God, it's been years since I worked in McDonald's. I mean, my son is 13, and I haven't worked in McDonald's since 2003 ish, something like that. So yeah, a long time ago. and it goes in a gun, like a decorator's calc gun, and you squirt it onto the burgers, or it used to. But yeah, there's only one sort of mayonnaise, as far as I'm aware. He thought a bidet was for feet. You didn't really? Did you really think a bidet was for feet? You didn't, did you? No, you didn't. You're joking. You're winding me up there. You take care. Conversation shared. All the best, mate. Ah, sorry. I think I missed something in the chat. Oh, I'm bored. Yeah. Oh dear. Anyone who missed it, well, I was on a live from the allotment earlier, and my daughter went, "I'm bored," and I just looked at her and went, "No, you're not." She wasn't bored. She was having a great time, and she just went, "I'm bored." And it's like, "No, you're not. You just like you're not bored. You've just been running around stroking the chickens, having a whale of a time, and you just go, "I'm bored." And it's like, "No, you're not bored." But yeah, wobbly bob. Made me chuckle, that did. Ah, dearie me. Right, okay. You know these toilets that spray yourself? Well, the place that I work has these toilets, and I didn't know how to use them. Hadn't got a clue how to use them. So anyway, I was in there looking for the flusher for the toilet. So I used the toilet. It was a number one. Okay, so you know we were talking. It was fine, and I couldn't work out how to flush it. There was no handle. There was no button. There was no nothing. It's like, what do you do? So there's all these buttons, and none of them seemed to look like a flush. So I looked over the button and I pressed the button. And as I pressed the button, and I'm looking down at this point like that. And as I press the button, this bar comes out of the toilet. It goes. So me being curious, think, what the hell's that? Look down at this bar. Just as I look down at it, it squirts water straight in my face. Right, completely soaks me. And I'm there just going, what the fucking hell's just happened here? Completely soaking wet. And I'm like padding myself down with tissue, this and the other. Still don't figure out how to flush the toilet. Walk out of the toilet, go back into the office. And they were like, oh, there's a button on the side. And this and then I was like, what did you do? And I was like, well, I pressed the button, this bar come out. I said, and I looked at it, and they were just all in hysterics. Because obviously this bar comes out so it can wash your bum hole. And it just got me straight in the face. You thought it was a drinking fountain. It's brilliant. Yeah, my grandparents had a bidet when I was a kid, so I always knew what one was. So yeah, and obviously used to spend a lot of time at my grandparents' house growing up. So yeah, I knew what bidets were. I actually know a guy, well, it's a friend of a friend really, that basically went well, it's a friend of a friend of a friend, but it's a true story. But they actually went away on holiday, and they got drunk in the hotel, went back to bed, got up in the middle of the night, went to the toilet, and ended up doing a poo in the bidet. And then basically wiped their bum, thought they'd flushed it, went back to bed, and their friend went up in the night, in the morning, to go to the toilet, sat on the toilet, thought, what's that smell? Looked to the right of him, and there was a poo with toilet paper in the bidet because their drunk friend had pooed in the bidet. I just think that's brilliant. It's just genius. I suppose though, if you've never ever seen a bidet, and also you're drunk, you walk in and you just think there's a thing to sit on, I'll sit on there and go to the toilet. I thought it was hilarious. Anyway, It's funny actually. I think that they've since used that in not from me. I think a few people have done this in like, but I think it was used on a comedy sketch show a few years back. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, I heard this story years ago. Someone pooing in a bidet. Ah, oh, dearie me. Crikey, it is 10 to 11 at night. Absolute madness. Excuse me. Sorry about the buffering. Yeah, so unless any of you have questions, I'm going to call it an evening, I think, because I am quite tired and I didn't realise how late it was. And I'm going to go to bed in a minute. Oh, I can imagine. I was at a festival once and I was in the queue to the toilet and there was about 3 people in front of me, and then this girl went and got in the toilet, and as she obviously went in the toilet, locked the door behind her as you would. We were all there queued waiting up for this portaloo, and about 4 drunken lads come running up the field, and they obviously had no idea that there was who was in this toilet, and they just ran up to it and they pushed this toilet over, and you just heard a scream, and the toilet went flat on its back, and there was screams and crying and everything. And then next thing you know, the lid of the toilet, the door of the toilet opens like the lid of a coffin, and this girl gets out, and she's like in welly boots and a mini skirt and like a crop top, and then she's covered literally from head to toe in wee and poo and toilet paper and everything else that's gone into this toilet, and she's just standing there like crying her eyes out, and we're all there completely shocked, and it's like you want to go and help her, and at the same time you don't want to go anywhere near her. And thankfully she had some friends with her that kind of like whisked her away, so no strangers had to get involved. It's like, poor girl, you're at a festival and you're literally covered in other people's piss and shit. Ugh. Ugh. Horrible. Ugh. I know, it's grim, isn't it? Absolutely grim. Oh, possibly one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. Although, I was at the Leeds Festival when someone fell into the toilet to try and get their handbag. I didn't see it. I saw the end of it when the fire crew had to cut her out. But they basically dug a big pit and they put wood up. And this girl apparently drunkenly had dropped her handbag down the hole, and she tried to reach in and get it, and she fell through the hole into the cesspit of piss and shit. But she couldn't climb back out, and they were worried about her being gassed from like methane, so they had to call the fire brigade. So all the toilets were locked down while the fire brigade took apart the toilet and basically got her out, and that was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. Gonna give you nightmares. Yeah, don't use a toilet at a festival. I used to love festivals, I really did. Oh, that's really cool. A merch packer. Wish I still had my festival hoodies and stuff, but over the years they get worn out, don't they? And holy, and you know, always wear them at festivals. They get destroyed. Right, folks, I'm going to shoot because it's been 89 minutes. I think I'm going to take it into injury time. I'm going to wait for that 90th minute to pop up, and then before I log off. But thank you all for popping along, and I'm glad we've had a chat. Really, it's been nice. It's been nice chatting, especially now the pubs are closed. You can't go to the pub anymore. So yeah, it's been good. It's been really good. Um, Lad baby. Cool. Yeah, I think I'm caught up with the chat. So again, thank you very much for popping along, folks. And I'll keep you updated every time I think there's something relevant to the chat about. I'll log on, and especially like with a Friday night and everything, it's quite a nice time to do it. Really, I can have a beer and talk shit basically for for 90 minutes. Madness. You're all crazy, but thank you very much, and everyone take care. Whether you're in this country, across the pond, down in Australia, or anywhere else in the world, look after yourselves because it is. And until next time, speak soon. TTFN. Ta-ta for now.